there are literally, oh my God, no, stay!
Robot vacuums are enticing and apparently sometimes also unpredictable because they let you keep your home clean without the work. But these home helpers can be expensive, so it's important to choose the right one since you're gonna be paying for it.
I'm Erin from Tech Gadgets Canada and Tech Gadgets International, and there are literally dozens of choices when it comes to robot vacuums. And one of the most familiar vacuum brands has released a new vacuum and mopping robot. This is the Bissell SpinWave R5.
In this review, I'll put the bot to the test in my home to see what it does well and what it struggles with, how well it cleans overall, and how easy it is to set up and use.
I'll wrap things up by letting you know if I think this is a good investment for your smart home.
So what are you getting here? The rage in robot floor cleaners right now is to have a single device that both vacuums and mops. This bot can do both those tasks at once and promises over 2 hours of runtime on a single charge. The SpinWave R5 has dual spinning mopping pads and the ability to add cleanser to the mopping tank, while the vacuum suction is rated at 2,000 pascals.
I think it's worth pointing out that 2,000 pascals of suction is actually pretty low. Many of the newer robot vacuums and even dual vacuum and mopping bots are offering 5,000 or even 6,000 pascals of suction, which would be particularly effective on thicker carpet and rugs. Now, I'm going to wait for my dedicated carpet testing to judge if Bissell has maybe missed the mark here by not amping up the suction.
Let's check out what's in the box. There are numerous parts and accessories here. You get the SpinWave robot with the good-sized 550 milliliter vacuum dustbin already installed. There's a large multi-prong corner brush, which is unlike any other I've seen, featuring both long and short bristles, which I hope will mean a better ability to feed scattered debris into its vacuum rollers. A second mopping plate is also included. That houses a 440 milliliter water tank and 2 round microfiber mopping pads. The charging and docking station has a tray to keep your floors dry. You'll also get an extra set of pads and a small bottle of cleaning formula. To get set up and ready, put your bot on the charging base to get powered up. Meantime, you'll download and sign into or sign up for the Bissell Connect app. The app's going to walk you through getting your bot connected to Wi-Fi, and that took me just a couple of minutes. When the Bissell SpinWave R5 is fully charged, press the start button to begin cleaning. When the robot goes out for the first time, it will begin to create a map of your home.
For me, to create a full map, I actually did have to send it out twice, but after that I had an accurate map of my space. Once your space is mapped, it gives you the ability to use targeted cleaning.
With this robot, to some extent, you need to choose whether you want to vacuum or vacuum and mop at once. If you only want to vacuum, ensure the large dry dustbin is installed. The dustbin's a good size and will hold quite a bit of debris. If you want to mop or vacuum and mop together, you need to switch out the dry dustbin for that mopping plate. If the mopping plate has been installed, the dustbin size is actually cut down drastically. That's because that space is needed for the water tank for the mopping pads.
In my experience with this bot, if you have a multi-pet home or things are a bit on the dirtier or dustier side, it is a good idea to run the vacuum first and then take care of the mopping. If your home is not as dirty as mine, you can probably get away with using the mopping plate with its smaller dry dustbin, no problem. I discovered that this robot has limited ability to clean room by room. It doesn't seem to allow you to divide rooms up or label them, and what it does do instead is allow you to create what's called zone cleaning.
This requires you to draw a box around the space you want to clean and then start the robot. I was only able to do this on demand also. I wasn't able to schedule any zone-specific cleaning. When it comes to scheduling, I was able to create daily or weekly schedules for the robot, but the schedule only allowed me to clean the whole house and not specific rooms or zones. Though it does show down near the bottom there that you can use the whole map or a target area, that stayed grayed out for me and I wasn't able to click on it.
Let's get to how well this bot cleans. When I test out all the robot vacuums I try, I run all the same tests in my home. I'll sprinkle things like finer flour or sugar, middle-sized bits like rice or oatmeal, and larger cracker pieces or crumbs on both carpet and hard floors to see how well a robot cleans.
Unfortunately, the SpinWave seemed to struggle with cleaning carpet. And by the way, don't mind the stains for another product test on my stunt rug here. The Spinwave R5 didn't seem to have the suction power to lift finer flour from the top of the carpet fibers. It did okay with rice, but it was intermittent with larger cracker or chip pieces. I can say it did seem like it could tell when it had encountered a larger area of debris, and it would make repeated passes over that area or circle itself around. Even so, I'd say it got only about 60 to 75% of the scattered debris I placed for it in my tests. On hard floors, I can say the Spinwave did a bit better. It got closer to 80% of some debris on the floor, but when it was finished, for example, I could still see a substantial amount of flour on the floor, and I needed to manually tidy that up. I guess I could also have run the mop over it too. The Spinwave wasn't bad at picking up something like rice, but when it came to larger cracker pieces, the robot's large corner brush seemed to scatter those over a much wider area, and it was probably only successful at picking up about 50% of that larger debris. On to the mopping, and this is where this robot really shines. The Spinwave R5 has a large mopping water tank, and those two generously sized microfiber pads, they spin so you're getting some scrubbing ability. In my cleaning tests, I sent it to tidy up both a fresh coffee spill, damp coffee grounds, and dried coffee stains. I found it did a very good job at tackling all of it, getting probably about 99% of the floor cleaned. One final note, you will want to regularly clean and wash and dry those mopping pads to keep them from just smearing dirt back across your floors. The pads can go in the washing machine and the dryer. Now, what happens to a mopping robot when it finds carpet? Bissell says the Spinwave R5 has carpet avoidance technology. That means it won't venture onto carpet or rugs with the mopping plates installed, a fact I was able to confirm in my testing.
Here's where the Spinwave R5 starts to lose some love from me. I consider basic hazard and object avoidance to be kind of table stakes when it comes to investing in a robot vacuum. Robot vacuums have been around for long enough that this is kind of a basic feature that I feel should just work. So I'm always surprised by bots that can't keep themselves out of trouble.
The Spinwave R5 struggled to recognize and avoid many hazards, including cords and cables, the base of stools, some fabrics, and other dropped items. Quite often during my testing, I would hear the bot shut down because it had become tangled on something, and I'd have to go untangle and rescue it.
Now, in fairness, Bissell does not really make any claims that this robot has any hazard avoidance capabilities whatsoever, so I might be overstepping in looking for this feature. Now, even so, since many other bots can and do avoid getting tangled up, I feel it's worth mentioning that this bot is very likely to get caught on things and shut down if you don't pick up loose items before you send it out. It even got stuck on rugs for me a few times too. The Spinwave has a stated runtime of up to 140 minutes or just over 2 hours. Rather surprisingly, the recharging time is actually quite substantial at about 5.5 to 6.5 hours. Now, in theory, this shouldn't be too much of a concern since it does always return to its recharging base and therefore it should always have a full battery, but that is maybe worth taking into account.
The robot will clean your home until it runs out of battery power, then it'll return to its base to recharge enough to complete the clean.
One oddity I did notice in my testing is that because the recharging time is so long, the bot may want to resume its clean when you don't want it to. Case in point, after I'd gone to bed one evening, the robot powered on again to finish a cleaning I had started earlier in the evening. Now, I was able to grab my phone and cancel it, but being able to establish quiet hours for the robot where it wouldn't venture out again would be really helpful in my opinion, and that is a feature I have seen on several other robot vacuum and mops.
Overall, there are some important things to be aware of if you're considering this robot. It seems to me that it is more geared towards mopping and keeping dust from accumulating. It's not the greatest at picking up substantial spills and debris, and its carpet cleaning abilities are barely adequate. Fortunately, what it lacks in vacuum prowess, it more than makes up for in thorough mopping.
On the pro side, the bot is easy to set up and it's easy to swap the different dust and mopping bins, and it was quick at mapping my home and produced an accurate digital version. It mopped extremely well overall and kept my hard floors grit-free. On the con side, the vacuum power is just okay. It's not great at all at carpets, it is better on floors, and it's best of all for mopping. Plus, with how often it gets stuck, it can be a challenge for it to finish a clean. My recommendation here would be is that if you'd be relying on this bot for mopping, you will probably be a pretty happy camper. If you also have a need for a strong vacuum, I would suggest you look into a different robot. The Bissell Spinwave R5 sells for about $549 US, and you can get it from Amazon or from Bissell's website. If this robot is not doing it for you, let me introduce you to a couple other alternatives. Check out iRobot's inexpensive and simple vacuum cleaner, or see what investing over $1,000 in a floor cleaning hub will get you right now. Oh, stay! Stop! Ah! That would be pretty helpful, so... Why?